Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode of Redesigning Sanity characters. To recap, Sanity Origin Stories was a failed pilot I made about a book series that I'm writing called Sanity, and I'm redesigning all of the characters because there was 300 characters, cutting them down to 46 or something. So we got a lot of work to do. This is the second episode. If you want more context, go watch the first one, because you'll be a little lost as to what we're doing. Also, this second episode will be a little more freestyle and not as scripted. One, because there's not as many characters this episode, and two, because I've been writing a crap ton of scripts for Silent Transmission, and I don't want to write another script, please, dear God. Oh God, So this second episode is going to be about Catos. Catos are the canine-esque species of the Sanity world, and they live in just called the Cato Nation because they're not creative at all. And that's kind of what they're known for, kind of made fun of, is they're not exactly a creative species, and they seem to keep mostly to themselves, and people don't really see them a lot, which is weird because they're everywhere, but not on the surface. They actually are underground. Cato society is just comprised of a bunch of catacombs and caverns that they've been digging for millennia for now, and they've basically just created this giant underground system underneath the entire planet. As previously stated, Catos kind of look like some sort of canine species, although they are not because it is a different planet, so technically they're not, but it is to represent their pack mentality. They are very pack-minded. One of their main war tactics, as they are very military-based society, is called the swarm, and it is as intense as that sounds. When you mess with one of them, you get all of them. Since we have oracles that have like superpowers, it's like, well, how do you combat that if all the other creatures don't really have superpowers? You get the swarm is what you get. All Catos have relatively a canine-shaped body. They have these rounded, almost bear-shaped ears that I used to not draw on them for some reason, because I was like, oh, I'll just like pretend they're like underneath the horns so you can't see them. But that doesn't make any sense, because where the ears would be, also that's not how horns work. So now they just got little bear ears. And they also have these giant tails. These tails can range from 15 feet to 30 feet long, and you're like, why, Lauren? That seems impractical. Well, as you notice, because they are canine-shaped, unlike the other creatures in the Sanity series, they can't use their paws. They don't have opposable thumbs, or something akin to that, so they will use their tails as using to grab things, using to write, and also using it as a constricting device, because they're dangerous and they like to fight. Catos also have kind of these ram-esque horns, another kind of protective gear for their heads. They also have very, very good sniffers. They can smell really good, but because they live in caves, they have really, really bad eyesight, so that's one of the few advantages you might have over a Cato if you decide to try to fight one, which I would not recommend. There are two subspecies of Cato. There are the sleekbacks and the cave dwellers. Sleekbacks are the ones that show up mostly in the Sanity Origin Stories. Most of these characters you will see will be sleekbacks, because most of them, they're usually the ones that are in charge in Cato society, because Cato society is very military based, and sleekbacks are the faster, more agile of the two subspecies, so they usually take more of the power. Cave dwellers, on the other hand, while they are a little bit stronger, you could say, because they're a little more bulkier, they are a lot slower and probably just aren't as fit to fight in a really fast battle, so they're more using their strength to dig the tunnels. As a military society, the Cato's leader, called a Caesar, is usually what they consider to be the strongest Cato currently, or at least the one that has defeated the previous Caesar. These fights are actually very well regulated because they take this very seriously, so it's not just like a bloodbath. You gotta like put in your reservation to try to do that. Honestly, not as much fighting to gain power as you would expect, in the higher ranks, but definitely in the lower ranks you'll see a lot of scooting and beating. And I think that will bring us to our first character, which is Pulvis. He was previously named Dust in Sanity Origin Stories. His design has not changed that much. He still has his like big fluffy mane. As you can see, you would think that he would actually be a cave dweller, but he is actually part sleepback, part cave dweller, which is why he doesn't seem to have the fluff kind of stops after the chest area. He has this cracked area in his left horn, and he's a little bit grayed. He's a little older. He also has a little bit of a bad heart, so he can't do as much as he used to be, but he's a pretty tough guy. He's also one of the more level-headed characters of the Sanity Origin story. He seems to like to just kind of keep towards himself, and he's actually kind of against conflict, surprisingly, being a military Caesar and all that, but he seems to try to talk things out before things get too wild. This is in contrast to Cines. Yay. I love Cines. He's such a great person. I love him. Cines was originally Ash in the Sanity Origin Stories. A fun fact, the first time that I ever made Cines, he was going to be the protagonist of his series. His personality's changed a little bit since then. He is Pulvis's firstborn son. He is also the current head commander of the army, so he's got a big job to fill after defeating his uncle. His design, he still has like almost kind of a reddish black design that he still kind of had, but I dulled the colors up and made him a little more fancy. I mean, he really looked like an edgelord before. I mean, he still kind of looks like an edgelord, but it's a little more tame now. As you can see, he does not possess kind of that cave dweller look to him, so he's definitely taken after more of his mother. So he's a little bit skinnier, a little scrawnier, a little sleeker, but he is still a good fighter, all things considered. This is Ramus. This is Cines' little brother and Pulvis' second son, so the second prince. He is around 6 years old at the time when we meet him in the books. He's taken after Pulvis a little more than Cines has. As you can see, he's got a little more bulk. He's a little floofier. His horns are just starting to grow in. He's just kind of the starting out. He's just kind of the little kid character. I don't want to like spoil more than that, but that's just kind of how he starts off. And he's also has these like golden flecks and stuff. He has some of his mom's design work a little bit throughout. His name used to be Twig. That's a dumb name. I'm glad we changed that. The next character is Phrygius, formerly Flurry. This is Cines and Ramus's mother. The way that Phrygius and Pulvis met is it's how royalty meet. It's a little complicated, and it would take a really long time to explain. So they're kind of an arranged marriage. That's about as close as I'm gonna explain it. Phrygius's design, not that it hasn't like changed, but I think I've just gotten better at what I wanted to convey with them. I didn't draw them a lot originally, so this was kind of just me just going what I had originally in my head and just kind of going for it. I kind of like this Art Nouveau, I guess, spirally thing going on with her with the golden trim that you can see kind of in Ramus just a little bit. She's a little more cold and a little standoffish. Even though she does have the golden trim, I didn't want her to look too over the top, although in some places I could see maybe where I could improve to make sure that oracles still look a lot more flashier than Phrygius would, but who's to say that Phrygius has not gotten some work done on her? She is an older lady after all. Okay, the next character is Spinna. This is Pulvis's brother, and also the uncle to Cines and Ramus. Spinna was originally the head commander before Cines defeated him in battle. While he was very well respected during his time as a head commander after his defeat, his people have kind of just seen him as kind of a freeloader and weak, and he just kind of chills out and just sleeps a lot, but he is very attached to his older brother, Pulvis, so he will do anything he can to just, you know, stick by his side. He's a good bro, I'd say, all things considered. So I've never honestly drawn him that much. His older name used to be Thorn. I used to draw him green for some reason, and this like brownish gray that I've given him kind of looks green in some certain lights. So I kind of thought that was cool. I've definitely grayed him up a little because he's a bit of an older guy, you know, probably late 50s, maybe about to turn 60. I've also given him a little bit of these red patches here and there just to kind of show that he's a little wiry, or he's a little more disheveled. He doesn't groom himself as well, but you know what? That's okay. He's just vibing. Our next character is Asper, formerly Bettercrest. This is one of Cines' betas. The head commander of the army has 2 betas that they appoint themselves, which are kind of like their second in command. So if Cines goes out of commission, it'll be Asper or the other beta that will take his place for the time. Asper is also the highest ranking female currently, so she's got big shoes to fill. Asper is a workaholic and a bit standoffish. She has no time for any tomfoolery. Because of the way their society works, Cines is currently courting Asper. Whether or not that works for him, well, you'll just have to find out, man. This is Batula, formerly named Birch. Batula is Cines' closer friend. They've known each other for a lot longer than he has Asper. Batula has always been kind of this weird, wiry, gnarly looking dude with the tooth. He doesn't really keep himself well groomed. He doesn't really care. I didn't used to really draw Asper or Batula that much, so I had kind of a general idea of what I wanted their shapes to look like. So I knew that I wanted Batula to be a little more scraggly and a little more gnarly looking, and I just wanted Asper to be a little more, you know, cliche and pretty looking. So I think I did it. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Who knows? And the last character that is relevant for the Catos is Faimiyama. This was originally Incense. This is Pulvis's mother, the former Caesar before him. Kind of like Renaissance in the last episode, she's not actually around at the start. She's just one of those characters that is just kind of referenced to every now and again. Again, I haven't drawn her that much, so I didn't really, it was just kind of a free-for-all. I also wanted her design to be maybe a little more smoother than Pulvis and Birch to just show she's very, very goal-oriented. She doesn't get frazzled that easily. Okay, and those were all of the Cato characters. This one was kind of short because while there are a lot of Catos, they don't really pop up that much. They tend to keep to themselves, and there's also a lot of spoilers with them, so there might be some that I just didn't show because them in themselves is a spoiler. But those are the main ones you just gotta know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little short and it's a little chaotic, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the designs. Definitely, this is also one of the shorter Redesigning Sanity characters, so get ready for the other ones because there's probably going to be a lot more characters and a lot more I can actually talk about. So I hope you enjoyed and tune in next time.